Yo, what's going on, Jets fans? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and happy Victory Monday to all of you guys. We've been waiting way too long to say that as the Jets beat the Bengals 39-38 and getting the first win in the Aaron Glenn era. And I want to start off with this photo of the fellas and Aaron Glenn in the locker room. Now, obviously, all these guys, they're individually happy to get that first win of the season, but I felt like that locker room, like they were mainly happy for their head coach. They were happy for Aaron Glenn because even boneheads like me on YouTube were already calling for his job after the first 5 weeks. Everybody was saying he's going to be one and done, but you could really tell this locker room rallies around this guy. Like they want to play good football for him. So I thought this was a pretty cool moment after the game. But also another cool moment was coming in from Justin Fields. Now he was talking to the press after the game, and he said this. He said, "I'm going to get pretty vulnerable right here." He said, "This week I found myself in my closet crying on the ground, lying down. I was praying over and over." And then he continued on to say about how the mental health side of the game has been really impacting him. But I just want to say this. I have so much respect for Justin Fields as a person, as a leader, and just the character he has. Because this guy, he was thrown out of Chicago. He was thrown out of Pittsburgh after winning 4 of his 6 starts last season. And even this year, he was playing awful, especially that Denver Broncos game, the first half of the Panthers game. He truly was one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the National Football League. But what did he do? He bounced back in heroic fashion yesterday. Jets down 15 late in the fourth quarter. You have 2 game-winning touchdown drives, getting both 2-point conversions, and we're able to steal a victory in Cincinnati. So even though, whatever we can say about him on the field, you can have your takes on him, but off the field, truly, this is one of those guys where if I was playing for the New York Jets and I was one of his teammates, man, I'm ready to run through a freaking brick wall for this guy just because of the leader and the character he has. So shout out to Justin Fields. We'll talk about him more coming up. But if you guys could hit that subscribe button today, we're closing in here on 11,000 subscribers here on the channel. So shout out to all the real ones that have hit that subscribe button so far this football season. But we just need 135 more of you guys to subscribe to the channel. I think we could hit off today's show. It's a lofty goal, but I promise there are 135 of you guys watching this show right now that aren't subscribed to the channel. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button today. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, so my number one takeaway from this game, and I think if there was anybody on this Jets roster, besides Aaron Glenn, that is going to get a game ball from me, it would have to be Breece Hall. Breece Hall was flat out unbelievable yesterday against the Cincinnati Bengals. He was hitting the holes well. He was setting up his blockers, and we saw that top-tier athleticism where once he hit that hole, it was tough to bring him down. And he had 18 carries, 133 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, averaging 7.4 yards per clip. Also tacked on 2 catches in the passing game for 14 yards. And obviously the play of the game, the Breece Hall touchdown pass. This was a hell of a throw by Breece. He's rolling out to his right. He pump fakes, didn't like the look at first, kept buying himself some time, and then he gave his big body rookie tight end a chance in the back right of the end zone. Truly a perfect game from Breece Hall. So shout out to him. And also, this 100% throws a wrench in the Breece Hall trade rumors because, we were talking about Aaron Glenn guys early on last week. We were trying to decipher who are the guys on this Jets roster where eventually when you're competing for playoff spots in the future years, trying to compete for championships, who are the guys you can build around? Breece Hall might be one of those guys now. He truly looked that good yesterday, and maybe it's being hyperbolic, being too prisoner of the moment, and teams will definitely be calling on Breece Hall, and at least at bare minimum, the price went up. I'm not trading this guy for a 4th or 5th round pick. You got to at least give up a 3rd round pick for Breece Hall. He is too talented. He is truly a top 15, if not a top 12 running back, maybe even a top 10 running back in the NFL right now. But he's got some good chemistry and continuity with this offensive lineman. A couple of runs yesterday, normally Breece Hall is just one of those guys, he hits the hole fast, and he's trying to get north and south. He was kind of setting up blockers like a little prime Le'Veon Bell, where he was kind of slow playing it, and then he saw that crease, and then he hit it. And that's why during the watch party, I just kept on saying, Breece finds a crease, Breece finds a crease, because he was truly that dominant in the run game and even the passing game yesterday for the Jets offense. So I'll ask you guys this. You still trading him? You guys, let me know your thoughts. Would you trade Breece Hall? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass. You guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. All right, number 2 here. The Jets have an identity. Now, even though the Jets were 0-7, I was still saying this. Clearly, they have an identity, and that is you're going to be a downhill football team, and you are going to rely on your defense. Obviously, the defense didn't play well at all yesterday, but the downhill part. The Jets' running game yesterday was absolutely ridiculous, and this is mainly a shout-out to you, obviously, the running backs, Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis. Isaiah Davis had that 50-yard scamper down the right sideline, which was a big-time play. but the offensive line was completely moving people. I mean, you ran the ball 37 freaking times and you averaged almost 7 yards per carry. That's ridiculous production. And I think the Jets ended the game scoring 7 of their last 8 possessions. I think it was like 3 field goals, 4 touchdowns. Like, the Jets offense was absolutely humming yesterday, but it was on the back of the running game. So shout out to the offensive linemen, shout out to the running backs. They did, what they needed to do. Now, I will say, to be fair, don't want to put a damper on this mood. It's Victory Monday. We should all be celebrating. But I will say the Bengals are, the worst defense in the NFL, and they also lost Trey Hendrickson in the middle of that game. So, obviously this was an easy opportunity for the Jets offense to really get going, but you also put up 500 total yards. This is still the NFL. Like, no matter what, no matter who you're playing, if you're able to have that type of offensive production, like, you got to tip your cap. And, Isaiah Davis, he showed a lot of juice. I mean, over 100 yards, all purpose there. Like, he was absolutely fantastic. 7 carries, 65 yards. Now, bulk of that came on that 150-yard scamper down the right, but averaging 9.3 yards per carry. Also tacked on 5 receptions, 44 yards. Now, I did feel like they were almost kind of force-feeding the screen game to him early on, but then he started to get loose in the, second half of that game, and he just sets up his blockers very well, too. Like, I'll give both Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis credit. And this is even without Braylon Allen. Like, they have been carrying the load offensively, so shout out to those guys. But we obviously got to talk about a negative because, you did give up 38 points, and the defense was just flat out atrocious yesterday. Now, when they needed to make stops, they did. So I will give them credit there. But for majority of the time, I mean, the defense has major issues. Now, obviously, you're without Sauce Gardner. I will say, I thought Quincy Williams was flying around the football field, especially in that first half. Even the Bengals offense was getting going, he still had some big-time plays. So shout out to 56. I thought he was playing some great football yesterday. But still, as a whole, the defense has major issues. And I honestly, I'm going to chalk this up more to defensive coordinator Steve Wilks because Joe Flacco, I mean, he was just able to slice and dice it. Now, I will say, in the second half, kind of shut him down a little bit. He was 21 of 34, 223 yards. I mean, probably he had 180 in the first half, so you're able to slow him down a little bit. But the Jets, I mean, they can't stop the run, man. Chase Brown, 12 carries, 73 yards. Also had 3 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown in the pass-catching game as well. But Samaje Perine, he looked amazing. 9 carries, 94 yards, averaging 10.4 yards per clip. So clearly this Jets defense still has some major issues. There's no doubt about it. I mean, the offense won you a game. You win a game, giving up 38 points. Offense deserves a lot of credit. But, again, when they needed to stop, when they needed to force a 3 and out, back-to-back possessions in that fourth quarter, they did just that. So I will tip my cap to the defense there. But, I mean, it's got to be better. And I think this offseason, like, if you're kind of looking how the Jets are going to build this roster, they're going to spend a lot of money defensively because, you have your offensive lineup, so you're going to have to pay a couple of those interior guys. You got a good young rookie tight end, Mason Taylor. You're obviously going to still try to get that wide receiver 2 next to Garrett Wilson, but you like your running back, so I expect the Jets to attack defense very hard because, and honestly, maybe try to get even a new defensive coordinator because Steve Wilks is terrible. Just kind of call it like it is. But we'll dive into more takeaways here in a second. But before we do so, I got to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that is PrizePicks. Now, this episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. And if you guys download the PrizePicks app, plug in promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, PrizePicks has a new feature, and it's the only app that offers stacks. And you can pick up to the same player up to 3 times in the same exact lineup. So if you guys want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup, only on PrizePicks. So download the PrizePicks app today. Plug in that promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But massive shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's edition of the Jets Report. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Click that link in the comment section and description of today's show. Now, one guy I do want to give credit to here who has had a completely up and down season because, Tanner Engstrad, what we were talking about him after week 1 against that Steelers game, I was like, this guy looks like an offensive genius. And then he goes through that really rough stretch over the next 6 weeks. But then yesterday, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. First half, he was driving me crazy a little bit. He was very vanilla, didn't really open up the playbook. But when he opened up the playbook, I mean, some of these play designs and just the overall feel he has for the game. Like, how we talk about Justin Fields being a streaky quarterback? Like, Tanner Engstrad is kind of a streaky offensive coordinator, so they kind of work hand in hand there. But I loved him getting Fields on the move. Like, we finally saw these design QB powers, and they never really broke one yesterday. but it's still easy on, like, you have a 2nd and 7, for example, and it's trying to force feed Justin Fields to consistently hit a 4-yard out, which you obviously know he struggles doing that. They just got him on the move, use his legs a little bit. So, I mean, I don't know why we've been waiting this long to do that, but I do like him kind of getting Fields outside the pocket, using his legs a little more, because obviously this guy struggles with having pocket presence. And if you ask him to drop back 30, 35 times a game, mistakes will end up piling up. But I just love the way Tanner was calling the game. I mean, that Breece Hall touchdown play, the stones to pull that out. I mean, I wish somebody asked him, be like, was that a play like you practiced throughout the week, or just kind of get some insight on that, because I had no idea. Like when they pitched it to Breece, I was like, oh my God, this play is going to get blown up. But that's like, oh snap, like Breece is throwing the football, and then Breece made a hell of a play. So I thought Tanner was absolutely fantastic. Also, he did a great job of scheming up, which very limited at the wide receiver position right now, but scheming up guys like Tyler Johnson over the middle, or even just getting out to your playmakers, Isaiah Davis, all these guys. Like, I will tip my cap to Tanner Engstrad. I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the second half, and hopefully they can really build off this. Again, Bengals defense sucks, but, still, you put up 500 yards of total offense. Like, that's a ridiculous day offensively. And, lastly, we'll talk about Justin Fields. I don't think it's like, oh, Justin Fields completely turned it around. Like, oh, the Jets have their franchise quarterback. Obviously, this is his first good game in a very, very long time, but he was solid. He had to do just enough to go win this football game. And, he was a little inaccurate on a couple of throws, but overall, he had a solid day. 21 of 32, 244 yards to the air, which, I mean, if Fields is going to throw for 244 yards in the air, like, you'll take that any day of the week. Had quarterback rating just under 100, had 31 rushing yards. He felt a lot more comfortable in the pocket, which I will say, like, even on a couple plays when the pressure was getting to him, like, he would still buy some time, shift the pocket a little more, looked way better than he did against the Panthers and the Broncos. And, Justin Fields, like we're saying about Tanner and what we've been saying about Fields, this entire season is like, he is truly the most hot and cold starting quarterback in the NFL. Like, it's not even game to game. It is truly like drive the drive with this guy, where it's like sometimes he's making these big time throws, and I'm like, oh snap, Fields is going to get going. Then he has some, wild throw where it's like, where the hell was that going? He looks like he missed that by about 10 yards. But yesterday, especially in the second half, he got in that flow state where he was just playing. He truly looked like that guy that was back at Ohio State, why he was a first round pick. So I still think the Jets have a huge question at the quarterback position, but it's going to be a big end of the year for Justin Fields, because everybody thinks the Jets are going to draft a quarterback. Everybody thinks you're going to take one in the top 5 or top 10, no matter where they end up selecting. But if Fields can prove enough to kind of buy this front office another offseason where they can keep on building the roster around him, and then they go try to attack that quarterback of the future, I think that would be huge for the team. Because even if, let's say, the Jets do end up getting a top 3, top 5 pick, ideally you trade off that, draft a receiver maybe in that 12 to 15 range, draft another corner, and just stockpile draft picks to build a more complete roster, because this roster is still incredibly top heavy. Like, the depth is a major issue, even though I will say shout out to, should I talked about this on top of the show, shout out to AZ Thomas. He got beat a couple of times yesterday, but he showed a lot of fight. And also Jarvis Brownlee Jr. This guy's a fucking dog. Like, this guy just plays with his hair on fire. He's blowing up the screen game. Like, I think in terms of, like, the best screen defenders in the NFL, I think it's Andrew Van Ginkel of the Vikings, and it's Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Like, these guys are fantastic at sniffing those out. So it was a great win yesterday. Obviously a lot to build off of, but this Jets team is in a good spot. I truly believe that. And the culture is starting to be set, which is very positive. And, hey, it's Victory Monday. Why not be happy about it? So if you guys are hyped about the win, hit me with a me down below, and we'll get on out of here. Go Jets.